Morning, folks. How are we all today? Seems quite busy in the waiting room. Well, you're not actually in the waiting room anyway, you're actually here. Anyway, as you know, it's Wednesday, and that means we have David in playing the stooge, who hasn't seen the headlines, and he's going to speculate on what the headlines are, which will be quite difficult this morning on some of the papers, and no so hard than the other papers. So, it's Indie Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is overcast, drizzly, warm, 14 degrees, pollen counts moderate, rain will be keeping it down. So that's the weather in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look at your rain bloody windy. Right, I'll go and get the other one in. I'll go and get the other David in. Good morning, David.
Hello, how you doing?
Not bad, not bad. What sort of night did you have? It was muggy, it was uncomfortable.
No, it was all right.
Cool.
Said to sleep with the angels.
Lucky you. I was still up talking to Mr. E at 3 o'clock the fucking morning.
Where? Blooming horse won't shut up, what?
But I mean, I'm out for a couple of days, so I'm enjoying myself, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look and see who's in. Hi, Jane. Hi, Christine. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Jim. Hey. Hi, Lupson. Who else we got? Seems to be a female-driven audience this morning, David. Hi, Mark Telfer. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Neil. Hi, Carol. Rosie. George. Martin Hibby. Mark. Peter. Oh, Robert. Right, that seems to be the most so far. Hi, John. Numbers are climbing nicely, David. Get a wee minute more. What's your plans for the day, sir?
No, not really. I've got a lot of cooking that I've got to do, of joints and bits and pieces ready for putting in the fridge. I got myself a load of chicken drumsticks, uncooked. So I've got to cook those in the Ninja, get them ready for in the fridge. So that's
Morning,
fine.
Reagan White. Good morning, Ewan. Good morning, Barbara. So, you're going to be on a cooking fest today?
Yes, I am.
Well, right after the show, as you know, we spoke about it prior to you coming in. I'll be back on to try and get me another charity, because I'm phoning them on the days when they're open, David. It can be a long, laborious process, as you're quite aware.
Absolutely. Yes.
But we'll get there, and we'll get it out the door as soon as we can.
And I am sorry. I feel dreadfully, dreadfully sorry that I cannot help you in that quest.
That's all right, David. That's all right. I mean, I'm used to you coming up with wacky ideas, dropping them in my lap and fucking off and leaving me here.
Wasn't meant exactly like that, but anyway.
I know, but that's generally how it fucking works. Right. That seems to be... We seem to be getting there. So first up this morning, folks, we have the loony right-wing knuckle draggers paper, the Express. I'll find it and put it up, David, and we'll give you and the audience the headline.
Oh, goody.
No, must be the other end of the page. Let's have a look. Yep, the loony right-wing rag, the Express. Here we go. 6 days after victim maimed and prison officers' cars set ablaze, machete and fire attack thugs out of control, gangsterism. Now, what do you think this story is about, David?
Is it in Scotland? It must be in Scotland, right? Okay. So, because it's Scottish Daily Express. But, to be honest with you, I haven't a clue.
Well, it's Scotty Davy, this series they've been doing on the gangster feuds that are going here in Scotland.
Right.
Basically, what's happened is 6 of them who have been involved in these feuds have been jailed after somebody got hurt in a machete attack, and prison officers' cars were set on fire. That's pretty self-explanatory, you know.
Seems obvious through what's happening that it's some kind of power struggle that's going on within the fraternity as they say. Yeah.
Within the underworld, aye. So we'll take that. We'll take that down and get rid of it. And next up, we have the scum. And I don't put the scum up, David, the Sun, so I'll tell you what it says. And it goes in the same story. It says, Judge slams a coke kingpin's crew. Out of control gangsters. 6 heads linked to mob boss nailed for terror campaign. So it's the same story.
Same story, but out of control gangsters. They're always out of control. That's why they're called gangsters.
Right, and the next one again, David, is the Rancid, and it goes in a different crime story. Okay, and this goes as sinister warning from for mourners. Gangland a funeral, a threat. Payback after crime pair murdered in Spain. Family and friends are told they will get the same treatment. So it's the Daniels clan.
To be honest with you, it's not the kind of story that you and I would be bothered with.
No, that's true. But this one I know we got hooked.
Yeah, I mean, the papers are a good old play at it. But to be honest with you, because it's non-constitutional, it's not our bag.
No, it's not, David, but we need to explain to the audience what it is anyway. It's the Daniels clan. In the papers, we've heard about the Daniels clan. A couple of their members were killed in a shooting in Spain, the pub.
Yeah.
And now the Daniels clan are warning the clan that shot their clan members that they're coming for them. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And the threat to the Rain family was, any of you working with them, you'll get what happened to your boys. Simple as that. You know. Right, next up we've got the eye, so let's get onto the eye and see what it's got, shall we? It's probably up here actually. Yep. The eye. Labour rebels force Starmer to retreat on benefit cuts again amid chaos in the Commons. Did you see the vote yesterday, David?
I saw the result of it. I saw some bits from like Pete Wishart and all the rest of it, right? But as far as I can see, what we've got the situation where Starmer is determined to get something out of this. And we saw the situation whereby he was only giving them like 12 hours or whatever to read the bill before voting on it.
And then they didn't even get that, so they were voting on it. And there was 2 votes, David, as you know. There was a vote on the bill itself, which was voted down.
Yeah.
And then there was a vote to progress the bill to the second reading, which didn't make any sense to you and me, because that's not normally how it's done. Normally you do your approval, then you kill the bill.
You don't make progress on a bill if it's been voted down.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what happened yesterday? It was chaos in the Commons.
Yeah.
Normally, you get such a big vote against the bill in the first reading, you pull the fucking bill, you kill the bill. But that's not what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday was they voted down the first reading and then voted to carry it on to the second reading in 8 days' time. As you say, David, they're determined to get this through, and they're determined to make as little changes to it as possible.
The only way that we can stop this from happening is a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister. Simple as that.
Aye, maybe. And Solari the cat's got a cracker. Gangland funeral. There's an MP passed away. Now, you're right on form this morning, Solari. Right on form this morning. Right, let's take the eye down and see if we can get another headline that will be able to get my teeth into. After the eye, we have the National. So let's put the National up. Fucking typical. Nowhere I left it. Here we go. Benefit Shamble apology demands to Starmer. Flynn tells Prime Minister to say sorry to disabled people as bill passes vote following another major climb down.
Well, yeah. Without actually reading the thing, you can imagine that Stephen Flynn at some point stood up and said, should the Prime Minister not apologise for what's happening?
He did.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like that sort of self-explanatory, really. But I have to question why Flynn bothers, because he knows fine well he's not going to get an apology. And the best thing he can do is head up to Scotland, get in somewhere up here. There's
another indie poll saying that if there was a referendum in Mora, people would vote yes.
Yeah.
But that's been the case for the last couple of years.
But, David, it's not going to happen at the moment because we've got the wrong man in charge of operations.
That, David, we're doing headlines.
Right.
Scottish Labour MP caught out over claims she didn't support welfare cuts. Now, what was that about?
No.
Right. She said she'd tell her constituency she wouldn't support them and went and voted them through.
Yeah, well. But daft, really, but about face, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, next up's The Guardian. And as you can imagine, most of the heavyweights are on this fucking bill that went through.
Yeah.
Welfare bill passes as bruised PM backtracks to avert Labour revolt.
Oh, he's weakened, without doubt. Starmer is weakened by this.
Oh, aye, big style. And as you can
see, if you want rid of him, you're never going to get a better opportunity than this particular situation to get rid of him.
Aye, well, as you know, the second vote, it went through yes, 335 to not 260. So the second stage.
Really doesn't matter. The weakness is there and it's apparent.
Yes. Dozens die in IDF hit on seafront cafe. A cafe? There can't be any fucking cafes left in Gaza. There's no fucking food.
Well, it must be the wreckage of a seafront cafe.
Well, it is now because they bombed it and 20 people died in it. And wildfires and warnings as heat wave hits Europe. Somebody should tell fucking Scotland.
Yeah.
There was a heat wave in Europe. I mean,
it is getting hotter.
Aye, but forget under Scottish summer weather. Fucking wet and warm.
Yeah.
14 degrees and pissing it down. That's a bit normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, heat wave.
Don't forget we've got this large lump of cold water in the Atlantic beside the Scotland end of the UK, right? And what it is melt water coming from Greenland, which is fresh water, and fresh water cools down much quicker.
It doesn't matter where it's coming from. The fact is, everywhere else is having a fucking heat wave and we're low.
No, in actual fact, Bern in Norway is rather cold at the moment.
Well, I imagine most of them are, aye, up there.
Yeah. So, and there's people flocking there from other parts of Europe saying, I'll go there for my holidays. Get away from the heat. Future years, this is going to become a real mega problem. We can't see it yet, but it will be.
Right, next up it will be, we've done The Guardian. Right, next up we have The Telegraph. We'll put it up. Starmer benefit bill turns to farce. Well, that's an apt description, is it not, David?
It's an apt description from the Tory graph.
Yes.
Right? But to be honest with you, it's not turned to farce unless it's actually followed through with.
Yes.
So in other words, it's followed through with in order to create a motion of no confidence. That it turns to farce.
That's not going to happen. But I was watching it, as I say. I watched the actual vote with Big Lodge Studios when I noticed it was live, but I was watching it, and some of the speeches against what was going on, for both sides of the house, were very powerful. But you can see it was water off the minister's back.
Oh yeah, right. Do you think he's going to drop down his knees and start bubbling? No.
It's a woman, welfare minister, the Department of Work and Pensions minister.
Yeah, right. Do you think she's going to start bubbling? No.
But as I say, she stood there throughout the debate, took fucking pelters for her own backbench, And didn't they flinch?
She's got a lovely lifestyle, by the way. Have you seen the house that she lives in and all the rest of it?
No.
Look at that. Wow. And she's claimed £6,000 in expenses inside the last couple of months. You know.
That doesn't surprise me. They're all on the take. Right, next up, we've got the Scottish Daily Field.
Yeah.
Now, what's that go for the day? SNP has left NHS fighting for its life. Apparently, Scotland's NHS is on its arse, David. On its last legs. It's fighting for its life. Do you know what's amazing about that is? If that's the fucking case, they must have already buried NHS England, NHS Wales, and NHS Northern Ireland. Because we've got the best performing NHS in these fucking islands. And that's the shit you get in these papers. Wow.
I'm supposed to stand your shoulder and go, now, David, don't rant. Don't rant.
My fucking show, I'll rant if I want. But, I mean, how did
they are unionists peddling hard to try and make Scotland seem as ridiculous as it possibly could be.
I know, but
anybody that reads this and takes any notice of it,
what's the really doing is making themselves look fucking ridiculous, because we hear it week in, week out that we'll get the best. In fact, month in, month out, as the stats are released, we hear we'll get the best of performing NHS in these islands. And you've got this fucking rag telling us what the NHS is 40 bits. I mean, obviously, if your NHS is 40 bits, that lot in England and Wales can't have one anymore. It must be gone.
If we are blameless, so in other words, if we're every bit of that article, I haven't read it, right? If there's even one single bit of truth in it, right, then we've got to deal with that, right?
One single bit of truth in it. There'll be lots of bits of truth in it, but because the comparable elsewhere in these islands will be lost.
Yes. But we've always argued, don't use whataboutery.
No, they've always argued whataboutery. I've always said, let's get the stats on the table. They fucking whataboutery.
I knew I could get that right over.
Yeah. I say, get your stats on the table, fuckheads, and we'll do a bit of whataboutery, and we'll make you look fucking stupid. You know, because David, that's what they're in today. That lot of land there needs to stop fucking on a whataboutery for the unions. Say, no, fuck it, whataboutery. Let's check your record against yours, your pannies.
Well, I've got an idea, right? Let's get you a soapbox and we'll find out one of the big hospitals and you stand at the main entrance and do a rant like that. How's about that?
Nah, that's for the front of Holyrood. To rant at these MSPs who are no saying to them, fuck you and you're not, or whataboutery. Let's put the stats on the table in this parliament and let the fucking people see.
What I don't understand, and I really don't understand, is where is the office for that particular newspaper in Scotland? Is there? Is there?
No, I
don't think find out. I don't think there is.
No, I think it's just printed along Eurocentral, but it's done in London.
The fact of it being printed for a start should actually have us all going, hang on a second, let's get the print works and actually get them to stop printing.
Well, if there was somewhere to go and fucking protest or go and complain, David, that's what I would take.
Yeah.
But there isn't. Yeah. Right, anyway, that was the Scottish Daily Field, and that's bound to get my fucking blood pressure up on a daily basis. So let's move on to the Herald and see what fucking nonsense it's got.
Anybody that reads stuff like that, it's like just to be like more to be pitied and scorned, as it were. Right, there you go.
Your thing. And apart, according to this, Anna Sarwar is promising if he wins the Scottish election, there'll be no tax rises. That's a lot of bollocks, because we'll have to. And the other thing it says there is he's going to realign our tax system with Westminster's.
Is he going to offer everybody a personal lobotomy to actually vote for him? Because that is exactly what it comes down to.
Well, what this article tells us, David, is there would be no more tax increases, and he would take us back in alignment with Westminster's bands. In other words, he'd take us back to 3 tax bands, and he'd realign the Scottish Parliament with Westminster altogether, and that would end the progress. That would mean no more free education, no more free fucking prescriptions, no more free travel for the young and the over 60s, no more fucking free sanitary products in public buildings for women and girls. It would mean no baby box. But David, you know what it means? It means they'd be ripping the fucking heart out of the services that were built over the last 18 years.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the people that vote for him, would suddenly go, oh, where did that go?
Thanks, Alistair, and you're right, the MSN does need reform.
And it's the one thing we don't want to be in a situation of saying, we fucking told you so. Can these people not just learn?
No, they can't learn.
Right out of blooming Holyrood, get rid of them, and that's it. End of story.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Sarwar's going to lose his fucking seat.
Yeah, I hope that's the case.
But he's saying that he's a list MSP, so no, he'll be first in the Labour list. Right, that was a herald. What's the Scotsman got for us today? The Scotsman has gender critical academics harassed at universities. Now, apparently, gender critical academics, whoever the fuck they are being harassed by their universities for being gender critical. This is culture war nonsense, David. And you would expect your institutes of higher learning to know better than to get involved in this nonsense. I mean, these are institutes of higher learning. This is where freedom of speech, freedom of expression should be allowed to play out.
No, in actual fact, I am disgusted at the Scotsman for printing such a story in the first place. Because what the Scotsmen are doing is the Scotsmen are maintaining the argument all the way through, keeping it going, keep it going, keep it going.
They're talking fucking culture wars. That's exactly what they're doing.
And the Scotsman wants protesting over that. Not protesting over the gender recognition or whatever, but protesting against the paper and the actual setup of the paper and who actually writes for the paper.
Right. Well, anyway, let's move on. What's the Metro got for us today? The free rag that you get in all the public transport. Scott, councillor quits over treatment of MSP. Scottish Tories hit by smear campaign row as the Tories dropped to fourth in the polls behind reform. So, Tories in terminal decline. They're losing councillors left, right, and centre to reform.
There's something new. I've got some news there. It's a newspaper.
No, the only interesting thing about that headline, David, is the fact it says Scottish Tories. There's no such fucking thing. There's no such thing as Scottish Labour either. They don't exist.
Well, if you take Scottish, we know fine well that Scotland's got to take a hit on that anyway, right? Scottish Tories, we know there are Scottish Tories, right?
Well, there's Tories in Scotland.
Smear and Tories goes together, right? And campaign row. Well, to be honest with you, it's a load of fucking bollocks. Excuse me.
It is a lot of bollocks to say, but the big problem for the Tories right now is that they are in free fall, terminal decline. Russell Finley's not been able to rally his pensioners round him, and they're all defecting to reform, and their councillors are defecting to reform as well.
Some of the stuff that Russell Finley's come out in the past, he's another Anna Sawa. He wants to put out the
Anna Sawa look like a fucking academic giant.
Yeah.
You know, he makes the dentist for fucking Govan look like a clever man. No, fucking no real. Hey, and to be fair, Sandy Gilhaney and Anna Sarwar, who are always complaining about the NHS, should fucking quit being NSPs and get back to fucking work in the NHS, maybe help clear the backlog, because they're not doing any fucking good in that parliament.
I'll say this in words that Anna Sarwar understands. I'll go, there you are. All right, okay, now you'll get that.
My fat arse MSP Nash voted for the cuts. Nash, I don't know if you know about Pamela Nash. She's a member of the Orange Order. She leads up Scotland in the Union, and she is one of the people who dish out money for something called the Scottish Unionist Trust, which is dark money coming into Scotland being distributed from a wee house in Dumfries. Pamela Nash is at the heart of that money.
Yeah.
The Orange Order are at the heart of that money, and
Yeah.
Westminster is at the heart of that money, and they are bringing it into Scotland via Northern Ireland, where political parties don't have to declare.
You're down a rabbit hole.
Oh no, I know, David. Yeah, as you know fine well, I was part of the Open Democracy team that looked into the dark money in the fucking referendum, so don't give me that.
Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know I know where the money's coming from because I was part of the team that looked into it back then. Right. Well, next up, who was that one? That one was Metro. Let's get that done. We only have the star left, so David, let's get the star up. And we'll see what it's got for us today. Nae boffins, Alistair. Sorry, mate. What's the star go? Jubilant japesters. Send in the clowns. Ticket surge as jesters ditch scary Pennywise look. Apparently clowns are making a comeback because they've put on suits instead of fucking daft outfits. Guess what, David? And I was watching Westminster yesterday and on. They're right, the clowns are coming back.
Yeah.
In fact, we could do with replacing the MPs with clowns because the clowns are fucking more intelligent.
I guess so. Yet again, I have to say to everyone in Scotland, look at Westminster, look at what we've got, and realise that in Scotland we can do so much better.
We're already doing so much better.
Yeah.
This is the point that people don't get, and this is the bit that's going to lose the SNP the vote unless they can impress us on people.
Yeah.
I mean, that headline in the Scotsman about Sarwar wanting to realign our taxis way, them doing that road, that needs to be explained to people. And the way that we just did, what that means, because people here don't realise how good they've got it.
Yeah. Well,
you know, lower council tax, lower water bills, fucking cheaper food,
yeah.
better public services, better NHS, better childcare, better elderly learning.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realise tuition fees. People just fucking take these things for granted, David.
Prescription charges. It's new up to it's a tenner an item down in England.
£9.90. I mean, that's the reason why my wife's work colleague votes SNP.
Yeah.
She's a fucking unionist, but she votes SNP because she knows the unionists will take away for free prescriptions. And her and her man are on that many meds, it would take her whole fucking wage to fight for it.
There's people in Scotland, and I was one of them, that was on 20 different drugs a day.
Aye, that's
you can imagine that situation. Wow.
That's £99.90 for your prescriptions a week.
Yeah.
If you don't have an exemption.
Right.
I mean, that's why that's why my wife's colleague votes SNP even though she's a unionist, because she knows if she lets the fuckers in along in Holyrood, her and her man will die.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford their meds.
Well, what these people are asking for is they're asking for a lot of deaths. And they're hoping that they never become ill themselves. Yeah.
Now, that's all the paper headlines today, David. As usual, nonsense, spin, and fucking propaganda.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, we've got a situation whereby if you want the real news, don't read the newspapers.
Nah, come with me now on interpret for you. That's the whole point of this programme. Right, yeah. We're just about 11 o'clock, David. Thanks for coming on this morning and going through the headlines with me. I know a lot of them were very hard, but I mean, if you're the ordinary man in the supermarket, the idea behind this, and you were looking at them, the one that would jump out at you is SNP leaves the NHS for dead sort of thing.
Yeah. Just one small thing, right? Have we stopped placing the national newspaper over the front of all the other newspapers? If we all did it, it's not breaking the law. It's not breaking the law at all. You might get shouted at with the store manager if you get caught, right? But seriously, take the national and put it across the front of every single one of them.
David, you'd be lucky to find enough publications. If you take my local shop, they get 3 copies of the national a day.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's the case, then turn them all round. So it's just
4 pages are facing up.
Yeah.
Aye.
And that would have
If you were looking at that today, David,
Yeah.
if you were in the supermarket today and you were looking at that,
Yeah.
the one headline that would stick out would be the one in the Daily Fail where it says that NHS is fighting for its life under SN.
Yeah, and people in Scotland, it's like, I know we like to say the different culture and all the rest of it, right? But still in all, we are affected by what we see. So therefore, if we've got a major output like that, the Daily Mail or the Express, or it could be the Mirror or whatever, and it's like we read that and we go, oh, fuck, right?
Yeah, but
And if we're not informed any other way, if there's nobody stood at the side and go, that's a load of bollocks, right? People are going to take it in, David.
Aye. Right, that's it for this morning, folks. David and I will be back. Well, I'll be back twice tomorrow. David will see you tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, but here first, get to your your newspaper stall at the supermarket and turn every single one of the newspapers round to the sports pages. That'll do. That'll do.
Right, we'll see you tomorrow, David.
Right.
And we'll see the audience tomorrow. Thanks very much for tuning in in high numbers again today, folks. Look after yourselves.
Keep
Thanks for your contributions.
Keep smiling. It's not the end. It's just difficult. That's all it is. All right.
Thanks for your contributions. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to you all. Bye now.